That's it. It doesn't matter. Let's go talk to students. That's what we're here for. Oh no, wait. No, I forgot again. Let's go talk to them. Gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello again. Oh my
Hello.
god. It sounds so good. It sounds so good. These are the guys. They are part of, hang on, let me get it right, Occluded Sombrero Studios, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for being on the show. There are 6 of you. There are 3 here. There's one on the phone.
Hello.
Why don't we do some kind of introduction if you guys just want to say who you are, sort of maybe what you worked on the project, something like that.
Sure. Go for it.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sergey Mysin. I come from Moscow, Russia. And so, well studied game design here. We're all bachelors. And so we've been working on our final project for 4 months. And that was a good experience. That was something really new.
My name is Javier Martin. I'm originally from Madrid, Spain, and I also studied game design here. I started on online, and then I moved to on campus. I live in South Florida, so it was easy for me to transfer over to Orlando. It was honestly an amazing experience. I got to work with these guys, and there was a lot of back and forth with ideas, and it really helped our project as a whole to just have that communication, and it was a really a good and an amazing experience.
Hello, this is Bo Wei Han. I'm from Beijing, China. I used to be a kid that really likes to play games, like a lot. And until someday I realized I should investigate something beyond just playing games. So that's why I came to study game design fullsail. And has been such an awesome experience to learn the stuff here. And also I feel the happiness of working with our team members and as a entire team. So yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Jones. I got started learning about game design back in my freshman year of high school in 2014. I came to Full Sail almost as soon as I graduated in June of 2016. And I've learned a little bit of how to do everything when it comes to making games. But when it came to this project, I became more focused on the audio design for the game. And I've learned a lot just working from this project and working with my team, and it's been a very unique experience.
Awesome. Great. So the other members that aren't here are, who's that? Jake and
Christian, yes.
Okay, cool. So did you guys just graduate or are going to graduate?
Yeah, we just graduated a week ago.
No. Google, be quiet. Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
We graduated on the 20, actually 10 days ago now. We graduated on the 20th.
Last Tuesday.
Oh, okay, cool. Was that the whole group, or because the last group we talked to had one person that was behind a month or something like that? Did you guys?
Oh no, we all graduated. Yeah, the same month.
Oh, cool. Did you guys do that expo thing yet?
Oh yeah, the FPS.
Yeah.
Final project.
That was the day before our ceremony.
Oh, okay. That seemed so awesome. The last group I talked to, because I don't know how much. I'm just going to assume that you know nothing about my connection to Full Sail, but I went there like in 2007. I graduated, and this is way back when, before it was game design and development were the same program, and now I understand they're broken out, and you guys are in the design portion of it. So we did all kinds of. I can hear myself.
Oh, that must be because of the mic. Let me do this.
No, that's okay. But so we never had that expo thing that you guys have now. So you guys still do the presentation, I understand, in that theater or whatever. And then there's like that secondary expo that you do that's sort of like a show floor where you show off your game and people can walk around like a convention style. That is the coolest thing I have ever heard of, and I wish I was a part of that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we got to we brought in all these monitors and a TV to show our trailer for the game, and just to have everybody from from outside of Full Sail come in, and also students that had not played our game or even seen anything related to it. Just to have a hands-on experience for the first time from a person that had not worked on the project was very beneficial for us and gave us a lot of feedback on what we had created.
That's cool. Have you guys in general been to I mean, not necessarily gaming conventions. I went to a convention near where I live called Replay FX. It's like this huge pinball convention, but they had developers there that ended up meeting and some publishers too. Have you guys been to things like that, like TwitchCon or E3 or something like that?
I went to TwitchCon 2016, and that was unbelievable. I mean, just to meet not only the creators and the content producers, but also like the back end side of things, like all the new apps that were coming up that were going to be incorporated into Twitch and all those features. It was really interesting. There's a huge industry behind Twitch and what's basically coming up with it, and that was very interesting. It was on the other side of the country though, so I had to travel on a Friday, and I got there Friday night, and then come back Saturday night because I worked on Monday and I needed, to sleep at some point. So,
So after you waited in line for your badge for 8 hours and then got in, how much time?
yeah, exactly.
That was
Um,
yeah. Go ahead.
I was actually an exhibitor at Orlando IX this year. It's this big tech conference that happens at Full Sail Live in August, and I was showing off my personal game project.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I always thought it was so cool, and that's kind of why I was really excited about that expo. Is that sort of one-on-one close interaction with someone that's sort of interested in the game or interested in, how you guys came up with it or something is so cool. I know that the developers that I've talked to at these different conventions so far are all super excited to chat with, because they're working on their passion project, right? So it's like they poured all this years into a game. Of course, they want to talk to you forever about it. But yeah, that seems like the coolest way to get to know sort of potential consumers, or maybe just you could take the pulse of the market a little bit from a convention like that. But I'm super excited that Full Sail is doing that now. I wish they did it when I went. I was talking to some of the to Haifa and some of the other directors about possibly coming down there and attending some month. That'd be so cool to see that live. Let me start doing my thing here. So how did you guys? The game is called Breach. I'm sorry, The Breach. Tell me about the game. I know a little bit about it. Puzzly, first person, third person type of deal. Can you guys describe the game?
Okay. Well, do you want us to talk about the whole process or just the end result of what we came up with, or?
I would say both.
Okay. Well, if you want to start at the beginning, it was quite an adventure. We were inspired by Portal just from the very beginning. We loved Portal's style of puzzles and complex thinking about the environment. So we based it off of that. And we went off of a rubric. The good thing that Full Sail did for us is they established a rubric. Once we chose a genre that we wanted, we just had to follow step by step all the requirements of that rubric. And that really established, I guess, the fundamentals of what we needed for the game. And even though we really did not like that at the beginning, it turned out that most of the things we used are in our final project. So that's how we started. And if you want to share anything.
So at the beginning, we are kind of ambitious, and so we try our best to make our game like somewhat as interesting as Portal. And also, I think like based on our research, we know that the original idea of Portal was also pitched by was not a actual game designer or a lead game designer, it might be an engineer or a student project. So we were kind of ambitious and we hope to develop a game that's as interesting as Portal. And also we got inspired from Tyler's principle, and also some mechanics that we give up later from Chromagun, and so yeah, we tried a lot of stuff, even though we abandoned a lot of stuff. But after that, we improved and we evolved from it.
Mhm.
And after all, it turns out to be our current project right now.
So, uh, single player. I didn't see a multiplayer option. Is it single player, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's single.
Okay, cool. Um, the do you guys in game design do that midway project that there was an SGP and then there was like a final project? Does design do that or just development?
Yeah, our midterm project, you could say, is scraps.
Yeah.
Basically, what the program does is that they give us um, uh, character mechanics already set up. Since that's basically our first step into the creative process with level design and whatnot,
Mhm.
and it's more geared towards level design and basic mechanics based off of the core character mechanics that are given to us. That was a very interesting process as well. We basically mapped out a level on Google Draw, I think it was at the beginning,
Yep.
and then using that, we projected it using Unity engine. We projected it onto a plane, so we had just a 2D projection of the map we created in Google Draw, and based off of that, we built our level around it, and we turned it into a 3D space. So
Yeah, just a block out.
yeah, it was basically a block out, and that was the second month.
Yeah,
So the first month we made a map. The second month we made the block out
and some mechanics.
and some mechanics. Yeah, we started making out just basic mechanics, and then the third month we polished everything out. We textured everything, and that's the first time we actually started working together, Sergey and I, and that was probably 14, 15 months ago.
That was
Last December?
Last December.
October, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
October we started.
October we started, yeah, so-
the level design part.
So 13 months ago.
Jeez. So has your group been a group since that project? Since the
Three of
midterm?
us
Okay.
have worked together a lot, and I met. Well, Bowie was in our class since Scraps, and Brandon and I worked on an Unreal project together. So yeah, we got to know each other, and we were basically projecting ahead. We already kind of knew who we wanted in our group just from participating in different projects together.
Yep.
That's awesome. So let me think. Started with the idea of Portal. We'll have to see the game to see how portally it is. I played it. I saw the trailer, and I totally get what you guys were going for. I got that. That's awesome, though. Did you ever? Because that was, as you mentioned, it was started like in a student game type of realm. Was that like, we want to do this, and then here's 50 extra features we want, and then you went, oh, there is no way we can put 50 extra features into this game. There's not enough time for that.
Yeah. Basically, we had the Portal theme, and then we had Chromagun that we really enjoyed. The color aspect of it, how colors did different things with the environment, and
Okay.
and we wanted to use both of those features. And our first month of prototyping the mechanics was just that. We just said, okay, what is red gonna do, and what is yellow gonna do, and what's blue gonna do, and we developed all these different mechanics and created very basic levels to showcase the mechanics more than level design. And we came to the realization during month 2, when we started creating our levels, that we each had a different vision of what a level should be in our game. And we basically spent month 2 of the whole process just making our own vision of the game in our levels. And by the end of month 2, it turned out, from the feedback we got from our professors, that we were making 5 different games. We were completely going in totally different directions, and it was really a shock to us to realize. I mean, we understood that they were different, but we had in the back of our heads the idea that we could somehow put it all together and make it flow. And it took 2 professors to basically tell us, hey, I see where you're going and it's really interesting, but this is not one solid game. This is 5 different games that are being prototyped.
Huh.
So it was really tough for us because at the end of this is a 4-month project, and at the end of month 2, we had to go back to the blackboard and say, well, we can't use all these mechanics to start off, and secondly, we can't even use our levels because how are we going to incorporate each other's concepts and make it seem like a player progression kind of thing? So we started from scratch at the beginning of month 3, and we kept one core mechanic, one color, and the shooting aspect, and that's what is our final project now.
Huh. Oh, go ahead.
Month 2 really hurt the most, because I spent a lot of time trying to incorporate the mixing of the colors into this one unique puzzle where you would have to combine 2 or more colors to get a combined color that would need to be used to either activate a power generator to open a door or anything else that I would have come up with. And I spent a lot of time working in the back end to make it as simple as possible player facing wise. But a lot of that work was the feedback that I got was it was more of a task than anything else. So it was tough to make the decision to cut it, but it was a learning experience overall.
So you guys say that you sort of had 5 different games. Were you all relatively on the same page when you say you came up with these different ideas and the professor or whoever it is, the assistant, whoever it is that helps with the game project says, hey, you guys have 5 different games here. Is that because, maybe one of you is like, I want to make a Skyrim game and I want to make Portal and I want to make, Fortnite or something like that? Or was it you were all pretty much in the Portal realm, but you had different ideas for different mechanics in the game?
Well, we developed these 5 core mechanics, and what I did personally was just focus on one mechanic out of the 5, and I just built the level around that. I built it off the activation of objects using the red bullet, and so I created like a key code combo machine that you had to shoot in order to project the right combination in order to open a door. And sure, that was a very good concept, maybe for a specific part of a specific level, but I made a whole level out of it. Mm-hmm. And none of the other designers did anything related to that. So they did platforming, they did some other type of combination. Brandon did the color combo, but we did like a moving block system. So we all used our core mechanics, but we all went completely different directions.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really eye-opening. It was a great learning process for us because we had never encountered anything like that, because with Scraps, with our midterm project, we already had the same core mechanics and we were forced to use the same core mechanics. So even if our layouts were different, the essence of the game was the same. Mm-hmm. Here we basically stumbled into a problem that we were unaware of.
Yeah, I would say with Scraps, at least with my group when I was working on the project, I made a couple of player-facing mechanics that was only used in my level, because as the player progressed, each level was completely different in a completely different environment. So to try to integrate what I did into somebody else's wouldn't fit either story-wise or mechanically.
So transitioning to our next topic, lessons learned. We just talked about how you guys were kind of went separate directions and realized, like, holy crap, we need to get focused. What about other issues that you sort of didn't realize that you were going to run into that you did during the process?
Well, from the very beginning, our one of our major issues was first person or third person. We approached that for about a month, I would say, debating whether or not first or third. I was in favor of third. Sergey was in favor of first, and the rest of the team, you guys would go either way.
I was in favor of
third. Yeah. So
I preferred like a toggle.
Yeah, it was a we didn't really have a general like Portal obviously was first person, but I always felt that third for some reason, even though it's completely bizarre. I feel more identified with the player if I see him. So I mean with the character in the game. So I always wanted to go that route. But then after speaking to our month one professor, he just said, well, if you're gonna do first person and you're because we were aiming to do a first person a platformer with puzzle elements, and he said, well, if you're gonna do first person platforming, it's not you have to basically see the player. I mean, Portal's an exception, but Portal's platforming is very I would say scripted. The platform that you do lands you in a specific place. It's not forcing you to platform from one part of the level to the other. You have to use something to platform yourself somewhere. And so he said, why don't you do third? And I worked on the camera for third person, which was incredibly difficult. I went through because there were specific tasks that were given to us for the camera. We had to make sure that occlusion, that the camera wouldn't clip through the walls and it would always stay focused on the player. And if there was an obstacle in between the player and the camera, make sure the camera moves forward so that the player is always in view. And all these little things that we think nothing of when we're playing video games, but the back end of it is extremely complex. So I worked on a tutorial, watched like 14 or 15 hours of a tutorial and went through the actual math of it, which till this day, don't get me wrong, I don't completely understand, but it was amazing to get that experience of understanding the script at the end of it and realizing how it all worked and figuring out how beneficial it is for the player to always see that character in view.
It's so funny that well, first of all, that's related to the name of the group, right? Occluded.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
But it's funny how common that issue is. How many times you see like a clipping camera in games, you can all of a sudden you're looking through environments or something. You see those in AAA games all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So that being something technical that went wrong, what about in terms of like group cohesion or anything like that? Was there maybe like I don't want to necessarily say like you didn't do enough work or like but maybe like time crunches where all of a sudden it becomes, hey, we're against a deadline, like we need to maybe help out a teammate that's having a struggles with some kind of code, like other people need to get in there and help to meet a milestone or something.
Well, from the very beginning, we all got together and had group meetings and established tasks and I wouldn't say that we had any kind of problems. What I did notice is that it was some people work better by themselves and then come into group meetings and just tell the group what they're doing. And I'm more of I need to see people around me working so we can continuously be aware of what we're doing.
Right.
And that way we can feed off of each other and all that. But it was hard for me to understand from in month one that there's different types of people out there and that there's some people that prefer just to work by themselves and then share their information than to actually. So when I said, oh, let's get together, some people would be a little hesitant. They're like, wait, well, for what? What do you mean get together? We just had a group meeting. So it was just realizing that was kind of a learning experience for me. And not that it's good or bad. It's just you have to be aware that there's different types of people and they work, in different ways.
And for the actual, like while we are actually working, we had some really valuable lessons that we learned, like while we are working. So first of all, from our first month instructor, he told us that if somebody is taking care of one task, if one cannot get it done, like within probably 2 or 3 days, he or she should probably pass this task to the next person.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Which at the very beginning, we thought that might be the 100% correct way of doing that. So we tried it out and it worked somehow. However, in the later months of our project, which is the third or the last month, we then realized that, especially if we are looking into our codes, our scripts, if somebody create that script that's based on his or her logic, and then if we like take the task from that person, we might need to spend much more time to looking through the entire logic. So that might be kind of a waste of time. And also, on the other hand, you might need to ask for suggestions or what the original creator actually think about. Maybe there's a tiny difference between you two's ideas that how to say blocking you
from
or-
understanding it fully.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So going off of what Bowie said, that's where getting together, like by the end of month 2, I mean, we were kind of forced to just step it up a notch and, go all the way because we had to start from scratch. So at the end of month 2 and at the beginning of month 3, we luckily found this building where we're at right now, called Blackmore, and we just met up almost, I would say, at least 5 or 6 times a week.
Sounds
and
about
would
right.
work together as a group. And going off of what he said, working as a group would basically solve the issues that we were having when we were looking at each other's scripts and not fully understanding it. Because we had that person right in front of us, we could say, "Hey, come over here. What did you mean by this part of your logic? Why are you doing this exactly?" And
Right.
that just saved a lot of time for us.
The that's such a good one because I think that applies a lot to other industries too, especially when. So you have, I like that idea of passing a task because one, it can get, a fresh set of eyes on something. Where some people, when they're writing code or when they're designing something, in my work too, I'm a systems engineer. But when I'm designing something and maybe I can't solve something, if someone else looks at it, oh yeah, it's so easy for you to see, but I've been staring at it for, I'm missing a semicolon or something like that. But another aspect of that is that it sort of familiarizes the whole group with that piece of code then, right? So you're sort of, if something happens that a teammate can't finish something, then the other person's already looked at it before, you've already worked together, so you have an idea already. That's a pretty cool idea. I hadn't thought about that before. I like that, sort of that task sharing thing. That makes sense.
Yeah, and what I noticed as I grew as a coder, I had never programmed until I came to Full Sail at all. I mean, I did a little bit of HTML, but besides that, nothing related to the gaming industry. And what I noticed is when I'm coding, having somebody next to me looking at the code and me explaining the code to that person out loud allowed me to realize my mistakes in the code. It's something very, very bizarre, but we always encountered that. I was just explaining the code and I go, oh, I shouldn't have this condition here. I should have it down here. We don't even meet this condition because it's already mentioned up here.
Right.
And just explaining your code out loud to somebody that's looking at it with you and having questions about it makes you realize different things about the code.
And in my case, I'd be doing it and then saying it out loud and then go, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of." So let me rewrite that.
we're all each other's rubber duck.
Right.
Exactly.
So what worked? So those are some things that went wrong, or maybe some roadblocks. What worked like really exceptionally well? That was you sort of expected might be a problem, but was like, oh my god, that was nothing, and we're already done with that.
Well, I mean, just half of month 3 forward. I think just after 2 weeks into month 3, we realized that we essentially already knew in our heads what our levels should look like. We had a general idea. I mean, the prototype of the breach was in a lava chamber with a transporter, like an elevator, or like it was just a moving platform that got us over the lava. And we just did, basically we used a concept that we had in a previous class, where our professor told us to use a theme. That was the first time that we were given a theme to design on, and it was what we had to work with was the end is the beginning. And basically we just made a room that was visually the same in each level, but reacted differently to you. So there we got we used that as basically as a foundation for the prototype of what the breach was, and we developed different mechanics in that same space. And once we had the puzzles in place with those different mechanics, then we said, all right, now we can actually make proper level design in different spaces. And after we have that level design, we can put a theme into it and give the player a purpose and make him feel like he's achieving something.
Mm-hmm. What it's so funny because it sounds like you guys have mentioned already, but it sounds like probably the biggest benefit, or no, that's not the right word, bonus of you guys working together. The biggest plus to come out of it was that it sounds like you guys were all kind of on the same page from like day one. I know that there were some other groups that when I went through in my group as well, where there were maybe one or two team members that weren't sort of fully on board with what we were doing or didn't really understand the goal or where we were marching to and what the road, the roadmap was to get there in terms of development and milestones. It sounds like you guys were pretty much all on the same page with that. Was that due to some pre-planning or some sort of roadmap that you laid out in the beginning, or just sort of like a mind meld, like you guys were all together, like right away with the purpose of the project?
I think it just kind of happened, if I'm honest, because we had like basic ideas that we threw together during the first month, and then as time went on and we started building out the mechanics, we started to get a better idea of where the game overall was headed.
Oh.
Yeah, and also the fact that we had worked with each other in the past made it a lot easier because we already. I mean, again, Sergey, Christian, and I had worked in Scraps together 13 months ago, and we decided at that point after Scraps that we were going to be working on Final Project together. So we already had that in mind, and the fact that I was able to work with Brandon and we had seen what Bowie and Jake did in their projects, it was very easy for us 1 month before Final Project to find the rest of our team members because we already knew who we worked well with.
Right. Does the school ever? I don't remember this ever being an issue when I went, but is there any like, if the professors or whoever see maybe a group that wants to group together, but they're like, that group's not going to be able to get the job done, like they're kind of messing around. Do they ever step in and say, hey, why don't we put you over here and you over here? Is that a thing, or they kind of let you guys sort out the group on your own and figure it out?
That happened the month before Final Project for me. I originally wanted to work with Javi, Sergey, and Christian, but there was another team that was missing. That needed another person to help them with their works. So I was moved over to that team, and it was, I think it's my first time at Full Sail working with a bad team, because they didn't really communicate very effectively. That was the main problem with the group. So I was able to kind of learn from the mistakes that were made from that team and try to make some better with Final Project, because I think communication was our biggest strong suit going in, and I think that if we didn't have like the same level of communication that we do now, then we probably would have a completely different game.
Yeah, we also had we were forced into working with other people because Full Sail sees that we immediately click with certain people when it comes to game design. So they want us, since that's not a real world experience,
Right.
They want us to deal with different people. And there was a class called Game Mechanics where we were forced into different groups. And because of that class, I met Brandon, and I was able to work with Brandon on a different game. So they do have a class where they choose the groups for you, and they force you into groups that you might have not even considered
Right.
until then.
That's which is great because that's kind of the real world experience, right? And what Brandon was just mentioning, where he he was kind of working and then he got pulled out to maybe go help with a different group. That's I mean that's like the game industry as it is, right? Like the group might be clicking. I actually this goes back to the talk I had a few weeks ago with the previous group with Diablo, where that development team was basically saying um, the Diablo 3 people were together, and then when the original title came out before Reaper, they got like scattered to the wind on all these different projects, and they didn't keep the group together, and that's why things like kind of fell out. And you see that all the time in the game industry. So that's really cool that I don't know if that's like a planned thing that maybe the professors and the director does at the school to say, we could simulate a real world environment by basically taking someone out of this group and putting them over here, because that's what happens. In the real world, there's milestones that need to be met. There's money contributed to different projects. The publisher gets their money. So it's like, you got to finish the project. So they might have to take people off different teams and put them places. That's really interesting. That's a really good learning experience too, especially for Brandon, that was put into a group that maybe was not communicating the best, and then having to kind of come out of that and realize that situation and then use that, for this new group.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think not only based on different group members, but also based on different genre of games. Like me and Sergey was in the same project in Project and Portfolio 4. So in that class, we are forced to put like each team members into different kind of game. We have Final Fantasy 1, we have Excite Back for Hobbies group,
Yep.
and we have Salamander for me and Sergey's group. And I remember Brendan was in another group, right?
I was an Excite Bike with Hobby.
Yeah, Excite Bike, yeah.
So it's like for me and Sergey, we probably have never thought about doing a like game like Salamander. We would rather maybe choose like RPG, like how to say Final Fantasy. But it's like Full Sail forced us to work on that kind of game. And lesson that we learned is one of our team member, he is mostly focused on 2D stuff, like doing all the game design in 2D instead of 3D. And so he have some bad feeling about it. And the experience of how we try to cooperate with that and how we try to keep working as an entire team is a precious lesson that we learned from it.
True. Yeah. That class.
Yeah. And
Go ahead, Brandon.
I was just going to say that I think there's a benefit to the randomization working with different people as well, because not only do you learn where each individual's group's not only do you learn where each individual's skills lie, but you also learn where yours are as well, because it is a good learning experience to see, okay, what do I know, what don't I know, and what can I do to improve on what the things that I don't know how to do just yet.
Right, and it's probably a good like introspective to get placed in a group where maybe you're a little uncomfortable, things aren't working out right, and then you sort of realize it's really cringy to say, but like, this is who I really am, something like that, where you realize that, I'm really, really good at maybe getting in there and solving problems, or maybe I'm really good at sort of, or maybe I'm not the type of personality that can work, as you were saying earlier, in isolation versus in a big group setting, and maybe this other group only wanted to work separately. That's right. You probably learn a lot about yourself in those situations too.
Yeah.
And another thing that was introduced in that class, we worked on Excite Bike, Brandon and I, and we were introduced for the first time to working with an online team. Okay. And working with an online team was very interesting because you can't have that face-to-face communication. Sure, we have Discord, but there's a lot of making sure that certain tasks are assigned properly so that they don't overlap each other. And depending on tasks being done for you to proceed with whatever you needed to do, because you're basically building off of somebody else maybe. So that was really beneficial. And I think the most beneficial thing that I learned from that class was looking up how to reproduce, because we were trying to basically recreate old school games to the best of our ability. So we would have to investigate, what was the time it took for a speed bar to fill up for Excite Bike, and what it would happen at that 75% speed, and how long would that take, and what was the actual speed of the bike, what was the pixels that it was going through, and just realizing how to look up certain specific
Oh, did you guys freeze? I think maybe.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. They the group got cut off for a minute. We'll let them probably call back in just a second. I'm assuming they'll do that. I will continue to speak to you though.
Okay.
Oh, they're back.
Oh, there we go. Magic.
All right, we're back now.
Hey.
Right?
All right.
Are we back?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Sorry about that. So yeah, basically it was how to look up code that we weren't familiar with, or how to basically script it. We learned, or the approach I took was, let me, instead of look up how to make certain parts of Excitebike, let me look up how to make a progress bar that gradually increases over a certain amount of time. So it was very like getting specific about how to look up certain parts of code.
Right.
And then relaying that information over to the online team or anybody that was dependent on it.
I, until this moment, did not realize that there was an online aspect of this school. Okay. That's new, I guess.
In our last month, we worked with an online team of artists as well. So the experience that we got in Project Portfolio 4, we were able to take over to this month and hopefully iron out some of the problems that we had in that month.
Actually was my next question was about artists. When I went to the program, although that was I think it used to be game design and development was the name of the program. And I know they split them, but I was talking a couple weeks ago to the previous group, which was a development group, and basically saying that I think the program I took was more like development because we wrote everything and we could use one third-party tool. I forget what it was. I think we used OpenGL. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But we worked with some sound people and some artists to do different textures for our game. We made like this Marble Madness versus game. It was kind of crazy. But but the sound people were great. Did you guys get to do that as well? Or because you're in design and you're allowed to use the third-party tool, and I'm pretty sure you guys use Unity or something like that, are you not allowed to use those extra assets? You have to do everything on your own.
Well, we were lucky because we have both Sergey, Christian, and Brandon worked a lot on the visual aspects, on the animations and everything. And Christian from our group is actually going to study game art.
Oh, okay.
He just graduated from game design and now he's going to start game art. So we were very lucky because the visuals, except for the main assets in our game, like the drone and the turret and the character, everything else was made by Christian. So that's why we branched him off in the credits and we just made him the lead artist because he worked all 4 months on it. And we were very lucky in that aspect because we could visually get exactly what was in our heads because Christian was there 24/7 working on what we wanted. So
yeah, we had to basically send out our a spec of what we were thinking, and then the artist would send back something. So it was a little I see what you're saying. Have an artist, and this is sort of like a simulation of having an artist in-house, like at a big studio, right? So you'd have Christian was right there with you, and when you needed something, you just say, hey, can you do, make me a brown horse or something.
Yeah, and we also had what you mentioned, though, because at the end of month 4, we had to send specific assets that we wanted for artists that were online. Okay. So we worked with Trello and we sent them samples of what we had envisioned, like pictures of the drones that we liked and a color palette that we thought that was appropriate for our game. And so we did work for 2 or 3 weeks with them on that, and that was also very it was different. It was a very positive experience, but it was different to work with because, again, it's another technical degree,
right?
And I'm not familiar with any of their vocabulary, so it was hard to communicate our ideas without using their proper terminology and for them to get the right point across. So there was a lot of back and forth, but yeah, I mean, we worked great with them, and they really did a great job.
Is that another school of Full Sail that you were working with that you were talking about?
Like well, we were working with another department. Yeah, that's the game art department, and we worked with the online students of the game art department.
And I will say that early on in the project, I kind of had my hands in everything because I prototyped a lot of the core mechanics. And then as time went on, I started focusing on the audio programming. And I think between months 2 and 3, I spent at least half my time composing some music and digging up some music that I had in my archives, and just using that as not exactly filler, but just placeholder assets to use for each milestone. And
Yeah.
then in our last month, Christian had a friend who was in the music production program, and he took my original assets and I guess the right word would be like reinterpreted them, and I was able to take those assets and implement them into the existing framework that I had built up.
That's awesome. Yeah, the whole working with artist thing, and as you mentioned, Javier, the uh, being able to communicate your ideas to another technical degree is really important skill, especially with in my degree field as well. It's communicating a really complicated engineering scheme, in particular a satellite ground station or something, and then trying to communicate that to decision makers, which they look at the 500,000-foot level where it's like, okay, this does that with this satellite. That's it. They don't want to know about the boxes inside. It's the same skill as trying to describe what's in your head to someone that is not in your head. So yeah, that's really excellent. That's another really good takeaway from the whole project, I bet.
Yeah, one thing that was very useful in that sense was, I mean, Discord, working online with groups online with Discord and sharing the actual screen and just
Yeah.
going through what's visually in your head and showing them what's a good representation of that through just live talking with them instead of going back and forth through email or through messages. That was, I mean, we would sit with them for an hour and a half just going through ideas, and they would come up, they'll open up Blender or another program, and
Maya.
they would just Maya, and they would just replicate a concept that we had come up with, and that back and forth was extremely beneficial.
Yeah, we were able to bridge the gap between what we wanted, what they were working on, and trying our best to make both intentions happen. And I think we have a really interesting final result.
Yeah, and another thing I forgot to mention is that the artists they worked with us, but this was part of a class for them, so they had
Oh,
to
okay.
go through. Yeah, they had to go through their syllabus and actually meet all the requirements for that class. So they were kind of worried because we wanted something out, for our asset, and they're like, wait, but we have to we have to do all this with the asset, and what you're requesting is something that's out of that. We don't have that as a task for us. So we had to basically adapt to what the class requirements for them were, and then take the most out of that from it. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
it was interesting. It was an interesting experience for sure.
That's pretty cool. That's like another layer of requirements on that communication, right? Whereas and I've contracted artists and stuff for this show, and the people that we use in my professional career, same type of thing, but they're not bound by anything like that. I mean, other than number of hours worked and what they get paid. But yeah, that's really interesting that there's a certain rule set you have to stay within. That's pretty cool.
So it's really interesting that as game designers, we already know that we need to communicate with people not only in our degree program, not only for the people who designing the mechanics of the games, but also the programmers, the artists, and we would like to communicate with the audience as well
Mm-hmm.
until the day or until the point that we actually communicate with the artist and from what they express to us from their perspective, we find out that they are looking into the entire project differently from what we are looking into it.
Yeah.
So it's like we do learn a lot from it. Maybe they think the player will focus on the aesthetic stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which we might not care that much about, like at the very beginning. But
Mm.
until they told us about it, we then realized that do we actually want to make the shadow somewhat less obvious? Do we want to make like our how to say our project's name is the breach. Do we want the breach's outline more obvious to attract the
True.
player?
Yeah.
Is that we just learn from different views and different feedbacks.
Yeah, one major thing from what Bowie said is that the artist, we had a not a problem, but kind of a setback when it came to the color palette. We wanted the drone in our game to really stand out. So we colored him in a very light blue with purple accents and a very light blue with orange accents. And those colors weren't really throughout our whole game. So we focused that just because we wanted the player to see this drone from really far away. And when the color palette decision week was approached, they basically said, okay, well, we have to decide of a color palette to use. And we were like, oh, well, that's what we want. We want the blue with the orange and the blue with the purple. And they're like, no, that clashes. That doesn't match anything that you guys have. We can't use that. And we're like, wait a second. We have to use that. That's what we want. That's how we need it. And they're like, well, we're telling you that we're going to get an F if we choose that color.
I'm not doing that color.
Yeah, just because of the colors. And that's something that we really didn't even realize. So they said, well, listen, if you want it to stand out, we can use the mission and we can use these other things. But that emission is going to be with the same color palette of the rest of your game. So that was really beneficial and extremely eye-opening for us because we had never even thought about a color palette for our game. We just thought about let's make things stand out and just give that player feedback, and it was a different approach to it because they had the artistic side to them.
That sounds like out of our professional field or area, but it actually turned out to be something that we should understand, and at least at that point, and I think that will be useful.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
That's really great because that's sort of like learning that your expertise is not everything, and you should you have your own expertise, and that's what someone pays you for or whatever, and you can't control, especially when when you guys get out in the industry or whatever, you start working on a game or something at a big studio or indie studios or whatever, you decide that there's a group that just does art, and no matter how good you think your idea is, that's their, what I mean, they have some X amount of years experience and all these accolades, whatever, that that you might have to like take a hands off, like, yeah, maybe you do know better about that than I do. We give you some guideline, but I'm going to trust what you're saying about that because that's your expertise.
Yeah. And the person that basically told us, because we were kind of worried. I mean, at one point we're like, wait a second, these guys are going to make a completely different color scheme for our game. And we really we didn't even account for that. Right. So we had a good thing that Full Sail does is that they have a game art professor work with us that whole month. And that's the person that communicates to the game artists what we are wanting out of it, using their language. So I approached the professor and I asked him, I'm like, look, we're having this problem with the color palette. And he looked at it and he goes, yeah, I see what you're saying, that you want this player feedback and whatnot, but go with it. See what they come up with. And because he told me that, I mean, one thing is to talk to students and another thing is to talk to a professor, about what the students are trying to say.
Right.
And once I had that kind of perspective, like, hey, trust these guys, they're game artists. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, why am I even here? I should.
Yeah.
And from that point forward, what they came up with was amazing. It was really, really nice.
That's, oh my God, everything you guys have been saying that could be used as a brochure for what to get out of the game program there. That's so fantastic. So what do you guys think in terms of, and we're going to play the game in a little bit, but is the game finished now in terms of you guys have handed it in? Or is it something that you're interested in continuing later on and fleshing it out, or whatever kind of marketing or publishment or whatever style? Is that something that you guys are interested in carrying forward? Or maybe you're just sort of like, we finished that, we closed that chapter that's in the resume or whatever, and now we're going to move on to something else?
Well, unfortunately, because it's our baby, it's never going to be finished, unfortunately. So we will keep working on it. Basically the things that we weren't able to finish, that we really wanted in the game that aren't game breaking at all, or they're just basically a lot of player feedback that we still want that isn't quite there. But yeah, we one of the things that we learned is to know when to let go of projects, and because we tend to get very attached to them, and in the industry, I imagine is it's just the same. You just have been working so hard and so long on a project that you know what you want out of it, that it's so hard to just not get everything that you wanted into the game.
Right.
So just realizing when we're going overboard and when we're just doing little things that aren't significant enough for the player. Once we get to that point, which we're not there yet, so I think we have at least a couple of weeks minimum of fixing still. But after that, we'll have to let go of it, I think, and move on.
Yeah. Would it, in
Sad.
terms of not necessarily continuing that game, but once you guys are done, and this is, are we on to the next thing? Yeah. Okay. So once the game's done, is there like the next game for the group, or are we talking about close the game, everybody kind of goes separate ways, stay in touch, that kind of stuff? But in terms of working on this one project, that's over and done now.
Well, it really all depends on what happens in our careers, right? If we're able to get jobs, then unfortunately we'll have to, just focus on that. It's our job. But if we don't get jobs right away, then I would definitely love to work with these guys. I mean, they're unbelievable. It's been an incredible experience. So just working with them on any kind of project while we're looking for jobs is always a good approach, I think.
Right. And plus, go ahead.
I've actually been working on a personal project since this time last year that I've been working on the bits and pieces. So I'm ready to go back to that and just try to take what I learned from this project into my personal project. But I'd be interested in continuing working on with this team on different projects.
So, and you mentioned just now, it depends on what happens with careers. So that is always the next step, right? You guys have gone through the project, you graduated. Now, obviously, it's okay. Now it's time to make money and start the career. Or although some people go and break and had a career before and then they go back to that. What do you guys think in a few different ways? Number one, is it definitely game design industry I want to stay in? Because some people, they go through this, they get a good education, then it's like, man, it's not really for me. I'm gonna go do something else. Is it big studio time? Is it indie studio time? Is it personal development time? Because there's a lot of success to be had in all of those different avenues.
Well, for me, one thing I learned out of Full Sail is that I am definitely a game designer. I'm not a developer. I'm not an artist. I'm exactly where I needed to be, and that's something I had no idea about when I applied. I thought that I wasn't a developer. I tried C++ back in 2007, and I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't for me. And yeah, and when I came to Full Sail, they said, well, look, you can try development. You like code? I go, well, I don't mind it. And they said, well, development's the way to go. And I said, yeah, but I don't know. I want to try design. And through this year and a half, well, 2 years almost, I just realized that there's certain parts of design that developers don't have. They are unbelievable coders, and it's amazing what they do. They build engines. I just look at them and I'm fascinated. But on the flip side of that is the fact that there's certain aspects of design that they just don't even consider. And so before Full Sail, I didn't know that about designers. I thought designers were developers and developers were designers. It was all one thing. And I understand perfectly why it was branched off into two different fields, because we really need each other to make a successful game.
Right.
It's not like developers can make a great game, but if they don't have proper player feedback, if they don't communicate certain things to the player, if they don't have a compelling story or reason for you playing the game, sure, your mechanics can be great, but it's just there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And just properly level layout and all these things that we learned just makes for a more complete experience. So I'm personally where I want to be. When it comes to post graduation, I'm applying for a position at EA. Hopefully, it's local, so hopefully good things come out of that. And if not, then I'm gonna be looking elsewhere, all over the country.
Mm-hmm. What about you guys?
Our group is a pretty interesting combination. We're like a international association somehow.
Right. Yeah.
So, we have Sergey from Russia. I'm from China. Javi is American, but he used to stay in Spain. And we also have Christian from Colombia, and Jake and Brandon are U.S. citizens originally. So,
Yep.
like after we're done with this project, for like three of us, we need to like we have already applied for OPT, but we do need to like take it seriously on considering where we are actually going.
Right.
And like for me, I have interviewed about two companies that from my home country. One is Tencent.
Yeah.
The other one is the company who collaborated with Blizzard and make the amazing Diablo Immortal, the NetEase.
Everyone's got phones, right?
So sadly, I haven't heard anything from them yet. I mean, I can't be 100% positive, but I'll just try my best on that. And also, if I get the chance to go back, especially I can probably go to see my parents and my grandparents. So that will be the most attractive thing to me if I can find a job in the big company back in my home country. But also, since like me and Sergey, we have come abroad to learn the Western culture, but the American culture. So there's also something that we learned that we can never have in our home country. So if I like me personally, if I ever get the chance to work here, especially in my favorite company Blizzard, I will absolutely go to my dream place first and then consider heading back. But like right now, I'm only applying for intern from Blizzard because like I can't be too ambitious and greedy on applying for a regular game designer position because I know that I'm not totally qualified for that. So I hope that I can get a job for the Blizzard intern, and if I'm lucky enough to get in, I'll just start working over there, and then see whatever things is going on.
Yeah, I guess I have the same plan. I'll try applying to several AAA companies because that's the basically the best way to start a game design career,
Right.
especially for an international student, because the employers they have to pay a lot of money for our visas if they want to keep us here.
Sure.
We need to show ourselves and to basically to prove that we are worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I realized in our degree program is that even though we try to learn as much as we can, and I can't say that's the something that our school lack, but something like personally we need to study and develop from our own is like currently our project are all seem to be indie games. We probably need to learn much more about the knowledge that we need in our future in the big companies if we want to do so. For example, the game balancing. Like we made our puzzler games, but what if we get into a bigger company and they want us to do something about data, about what they already have in their game engine that they want us to work on. So
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're right.
We need to how to say explore and study.
Um, I've been applying to a lot of companies since late into summer. I've applied to Bethesda, which is back home for me. I've applied to id and some other companies in Texas. There's a couple of positions at EA that I've applied to. I've applied to BioWare. I was considering applying to a position at CD Projekt Red, but there's some problems over there that's starting to make me reconsider it. But I have applied to a position at a company in Canada that's being headed by a lot of ex BioWare people. So so I'm a bit of a similar situation to Bowie and Sergey, where I'm a U.S. citizen, but I have to move to Canada to actually work there.
Right.
But I do see myself like within 10 years or so, like having my own studio and making my own games, and hopefully seeing some of my first team of talented individuals and employees, soon to be employees, soon enough.
That's I mean, I love all that stuff. This is my favorite part of the talk is future stuff. I actually I do several different shows on this channel, and a lot of them revolve around future planning and careers and professionalism and things like that. And one of the things that when I was going to school there, I remember them saying that there's a market for educational games where you play all the usual games you play for entertainment, but a lot of especially governmental organizations and school districts and a ton of employment training companies and things like that. There's the Serious Games, I think is a studio. It's called Serious Games. But they do a ton of work, and I'm thinking of more now. So like the military does it as well for simulations and things. Like those are all more areas to explore careers, especially since getting into those, you could, as a game designer, if you go in thinking, and this is going to lead into my next question, but as a game designer, you could technically, there's some aspect of getting the Blizzard might be a little bit tougher than getting into like, if I, go to a military contractor or something that's developing a game for the army, they're might be much more interested in the technical precision of things in the game and the technical accuracy of their aircraft or something that's in the simulation, and whereas the designer could come in and maybe that's not the top tier person they're looking for, but they need someone to flesh out what the game's about. And then you could go there, start there, build up your resume, have a couple of titles you release with them, and then take that back to Blizzard. Now you go to your main, this is my dream job. Now I have a longer resume of jobs and titles under my belt. Now they'll consider it, closer. That's always a possibility too. And always, I'm sure that you guys have heard this 1,000 times, and we talk about it on the show constantly, both how it pertains to professional careers as well as broadcasting. And some people do consider, broadcasting on Twitch a professional career, but the whole aspect of networking and the people in different studios and the people you meet, obviously your classmates are one of the best for that. I remember when I graduated, I went to work for a government contractor in Jersey. And like a month later, a guy that was in my development class in my group had not gotten a job. He applied to EA, had not had any luck. So I told him to send me my resume, send me his resume, and we got him a job within like 2 weeks, and he moved up. So it's like keeping those connections live, not necessarily just with your close group, but also with the other people in your class, people in the class before you and after you, is always a good idea. I still have friends I talk to regularly that are in the industry. Some work for Bethesda right now. Some work in Austin, EA, and things, doing different games. But you never know when all of a sudden you're out of a job, or you have you meet someone from Bethesda like, oh, I'm the hiring manager, whatever. Oh, one of my best friends works there, and then you work the resume through them, and you send, it's a whole. Networking is everything. Who is like 90% of the job.
Yeah, they definitely drilled that into us here.
Yeah.
They told us that from day one. It's networking is just puts you ahead of everybody else, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean you're going to be chosen, but you're going to be seen at least.
Right.
That gives you the opportunity.
Yeah, they remember your name. They remember the brand. In terms of how the streaming works and things like that, and products. The who is a big deal to at least to start your foot through the door. You know what I mean? You can send into these different companies applications through their usual hiring process all the time. They maybe you're lost in a stack of 10,000 applications. But if you say, to your friend that works inside the company, hey, can you mind go drop my resume on this guy's desk, or mention to your project manager that I can do some code or something, and maybe I can, come on board. And that's like, 99 times out of 100, that's a better avenue than just applying through the website. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's good to hear that they do that. And plus it makes sense with that expo they do now. And this is kind of wrapping back into that. That expo floor is like the best way to network with everyone, because there's so much foot traffic going through those things, stopping by booths and stuff. That's so awesome to hear that Full Sail set that up, to give you guys a feel for what that's like, especially if you start like your own indie project or something. I met like 15 indie developers at a pinball convention. Who's going to pinball conventions looking for game developers, But I met all these
Only
guys.
if it's Windows XP.
Right, or they're doing pinball 3D or something like that. Which is actually a big market. These guys had booths where it's like 1 or 2 people that were sitting there showing off their game they made on the side on weekends, and it was really cool. And plus being there, you can meet, broadcasters, and they know people in the industry, and they can always work, avenues.
Yeah, apart from what Full Sail did for us, I know Brandon participated in this a couple of times. Across the street from our from campus is a store, a card
Campus Cards and Games.
card shop, and they actually showcase games there every month. I think it is, Brandon.
Yes, it's every month, like the second to last or last Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, so that I mean, you went to a couple of those, right, Brandon?
Huh? What?
You went to a couple of those?
Yeah, I went to some of them early last year and some this year to show off my personal project.
Yeah, and there's a lot of game developers and a lot of basically final projects that show up there, and that's more of the technical. Like from Full Sail, we got a lot of students that were interested in our game, and a lot of families that are related to the students that are graduating and all that, which is great because we got that player feedback, that we had not had before. But from the card shop across the street, that's a lot of developers and a lot of people that are interested in the gaming process. They actually go and they see your game, and they mention things that from the technical side that maybe you wouldn't have considered.
Sure.
So that's another set of eyes on your project that would be different from what we had at FPS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's also Orlando IX, which is what I went to, and it wasn't just limited to Full Sail students. You had people from UCF, you had people from some local studios within the area, and then if I remember correctly, EA Sports was like one of the big sponsors of the event. So you had people from within the area, some people from outside the area, some people who were coming into Florida just for the event. The feedback that I got wasn't just limited to pure gamers. It was people who were working on like VR simulations, and people who were using game engines as a framework for animations and other VR things. And then I did run into some other developers who gave me some feedback that I wouldn't have thought of without another more experienced advice. And then there was actually someone from EA who stopped by my booth and checked out my game. And what I remember him saying to me was that they were looking for people like me who took the time to learn something that they weren't learning in the classroom already, expanding upon what they already did know, and taking that experience and making it into their own product, and doing it at such a level that makes it unique to them, and prepares them for a job at EA or other companies.
Awesome. This is God, I love talking to you guys. So one of the things that we talked a little bit with the last group is the impact of Twitch on the game industry, and not necessarily just favorite broadcasters streaming their favorite, watching Ninja kill everyone in Fortnite or complain and ban people. It's like, nowadays game studios have Twitch as a line item in their marketing plans. That's how big Twitch has become for games, where something's coming out that ends up, okay, we're gonna put it out this commercial, and then we're gonna pay these streamers to do something on or stream the game for some X amount of time. How familiar are you guys with? Are you regular Twitch people, or just sort of not really, but you have seen the doc shoot people in Black Ops or something like that?
I think everybody here at Full Sail mostly. We know all about Twitch.
Yeah.
We've known about Twitch for a couple of years, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Now. It is definitely an increasing market. It's captivated. I mean, Fortnite, I think, besides the fact that the game is amazing mechanically, Fortnite is what it is because of Twitch.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that
that's for sure.
people that can't play Fortnite because it wasn't available on console, or maybe they didn't have the computer for it, just went on Twitch and they talked to their favorite streamer and they communicated what they wanted the streamer to do on that game because they feel connected. I mean, it's a way for this new generation to communicate through gaming with people. So it's an awesome. I mean, I love the concept. I love the idea. And when it comes to marketing for games, it's just a perfect venue for it.
It's probably cheap too compared to trailers and stuff.
Exactly. I mean, you already have the audience.
Yeah.
You already have the buying power from that audience because they have the parents that are going to pay for that game. So it's, yeah. I mean, Twitch is definitely. I wasn't aware of what Twitch was until it came out on the PlayStation.
So that's right. They have the little application or whatever.
Yeah, they actually put it on my menu,
Mm-hmm.
and I just clicked on it because I had no idea why it suddenly appeared on my menu, and I just saw that. I'm a big FIFA fan, so I saw somebody playing FIFA, and I didn't understand what he was doing. I'm like, wait, so this guy's playing FIFA and talking about it? And as soon as I saw that, and I saw the chat, and I saw the interaction with the person, I was hooked, because not only do you see a person that's entertaining and really good at the game, but you also learn from it. So if you're a player and you want to get better, who better than a really good player at the game that can show you how to get better at your favorite game. So
I would, if I could describe Twitch in as few words as possible, it would be having a bunch of older brothers all around the world showing you how to play different games.
That's a good description.
I would say it's a very important bilateral relationship between developers and streamers. I think it's a different way of gauging player feedback, especially for games like fighting games in particular. So like Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, and even Smash Brothers. It's a good way for like people at Nintendo or Capcom to see, okay, this works, this doesn't work, this is overpowered, this isn't, and allows them to essentially bug fix and make updates in real time.
Right.
Though I think it's important for developers to not overlook it, or seeing it as more of a nuisance than a problem, because I know that, if I remember correctly, a couple of years ago, Activision was pretty tough on people finding exploits within Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And like they copyright they took down those videos in particular, and I'm pretty sure they would have a field day if people were doing that on Twitch. I think when it comes to like alternative forms of marketing, they need to balance PR. Really, it's a real PR. It's good when it works, but when it doesn't work, it's going to come back on them hard.
Right, which is a great comment, because the last group I spoke to, it had just come out maybe a week before that on Twitter, there was some famous, celebrity, whatever word you want to call them, broadcasters that were, they basically sort of pulled back the veil a little bit on the communication between the game industry and streamers, where it was like, this streamer was basically saying that he doesn't want to sign any more documentation that comes through for promoting a game, because it essentially, I think you guys froze again. Hang on a second. I know Brandon probably didn't. They did. They'll be back in just a second. But so basically what happened was they this broadcaster came out saying he's not going to sign any more documentation, because every documentation he was getting was saying, we'll let you play this game 3 weeks early in beta. We'd love you to show it off. We'll give you this amount of whatever in-game currency, unlimited the stuff, and we'll pay you some X amount if you stream it for this amount of time. But you can't say anything bad about the game, was what they said. And
I remember,
I can't remember if it was Lyric or who it was that basically said he's not doing that anymore.
No, I don't, and I don't know about that specifically, but I remember Microsoft doing something similar when the Xbox One was being announced and released, and that's a big problem, because I mean, sure, you want to sing a game's praises if it's deserved, but at the same time, not being able to say anything negative about it is even more of a problem, because you should be open to discussing, yes, this worked, this didn't work, and here's why, rather than just, our game is perfect because of all these nice things all these people that we're paying to say are saying. So that is that's what I'm looking for. It's not really ethical to do that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So I think if developers are going to continue to put advertisements on Twitch, then they should make a note that that the streamers should be able to be honest with their viewers about the flaws of a game, because no game is going to be 100% perfect. Every game is going to have some kind of bug or some kind of glitch, and developers should just be open about that and understand that it's going to happen. And when people find it, they're going to find it and they're going to exploit it. And all you can do is either fix it or just be honest about it.
I agree with what you're saying, Brandon, but if I'm seeing it from a marketing point of view, about what what the developers are doing by putting a game on Twitch through a streamer. They're paying, I mean, if they're paying him money or her money to stream the game, I see it as a huge ad. That's all it is. And it's like if you pay somebody for an ad on TV, a celebrity, and they're drinking that new Coke flavor, and as they drink it, they go, and by the way, guys, this sucks. It's horrible. I mean, they really have to change this about the flavor to get it right.
Crystal Pepsi wasn't that bad.
But from that point of view, I mean, you can be honest about a game and say where it's lacking,
right?
Without mentioning the drawbacks in the mechanics or in the inventory system or something like that. You can just say, hey, this is a great game. I like this about this, and I like this about this. And maybe this part could be worked on in this way, and just offer suggestions without, saying how negative you feel about it, especially if you're under a contract or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And that was some of the issue is that we're looking at a little bit, and I consider myself looking at it from the dev perspective, where it's like, yeah, I'd love for streamers to be able to point out what's wrong. It's an easy bug test. I would love to make what the customers want. But yeah, I totally agree but who's paying for that? The PR team is paying for that. So you had better be publicizing the game that I'm paid, because essentially what happens is, if you could equate negative response and negative commentary to lost sales, which then in turn could entail people losing their jobs. You know what I mean? There's a whole, it's a crazy market is I think the whole point of it.
And the thing is, I think that the rules haven't been established yet, because Twitch is so new. So yes, you can use it as a marketing campaign, but you have to be prepared for that possibility.
Right.
Where the streamer might not agree with what the game is all about, and if he shares that information, how is that going to hurt your bottom line? What's going to happen because of that? So I don't know. I mean, I would be really cautious, and if the streamer is not agreeing to only say positive things, or maybe
Or
those
just
negative
not say
things,
negative.
exactly,
Yeah.
not say negative things. Don't point out. And when people in the chat mention, well, what do you think of this negative thing about the game? Just say, well, you know what? I don't even focus on that because I'm actually focusing on this good part about the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that goes back to sort of the PR team or the marketing team sort of has to know what they're getting into. Like there's some streamers that you can go to that, sure, they'll be positive or whatever. They just generally enjoy having fun and playing a game, and they're cheery people. There are others that will be very critical of timing and bugs and glitches they see and things like that, especially speedrunners. When you get into that whole world, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I think that a lot of it comes down to, these big companies can't just go, okay, find me the top 5 most viewed streams on the internet, and I want those 5, because that's not going to work out for you with some of the attitudes. You need to find kind of all down the spectrum. And it's funny, I was actually talking to a publisher several months ago about this concept of a stream broker that could be the bridge between game industry PR teams and marketing teams and the actual broadcaster that would say, okay, what do you have? You have a horror game and you're looking for this type of feedback. These are the group of people that you could choose from. There's some really high viewers, some lower, some people in the middle. That I think would be really beneficial.
Like a recruiter that would join both the developers and the streamers together.
Like some kind of management layer that could put those together.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sense.
You guys talk about the merchandise side about Twitch and gaming industry. I was actually focused a little bit more on the designer aspect and Twitch. So originally, I don't know if I should bring this up. I watched the first streaming platform that I watched here in NA is actually called On3D, and that was when I started watching season 1 of League of Legends and WCG. Then I switched to Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how streamers present the games to the audience instead of game company present the game directly to the players. And especially for games like World of Warcraft and other action RPG games, if the audience is like a regular player, they might not be able to make the most fancy manipulation and combos out of themselves. So as they can see, also for first-person shooter games, they can see how fancy the game can be, how the game mechanics can be used. I would say it's a win-win situation for both Twitch, the streaming platform, and the game industry.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I see what you're saying. So it's sort of like there's a scripted ad that gets played, and then when you go to a streamer, it's really, this is their perspective on the game that's more maybe accurate to the average player that's playing the game.
And also on the top of that, two streamers that I know from Hearthstone. One is Life Coach, and the other one I kind of forgot his name because he played like in the classic patch of Hearthstone, so it's like 5 years ago. And they both went to Blizzard to participate in designing card for like one patches. So to me, that's like some sort of connection between streamer and between Twitch and actually game industry.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, and I think that relationship is only going to grow in the future. You can mention that Fortnite was so big. I mean, kind of from Twitch a little bit, and maybe Drake tweets, but that's only going to move forward in a bigger way. And I think I've seen the graphs where it's like Twitch viewership over the years, and this year it's like exponential growth in the last like year and a half or something. So, but let's move forward because I'm gonna drag this out forever because I love talking to you guys. Let's actually go look at some game stuff. I'm gonna post the link to the game if that's all right with you guys. Let me do. I think that's the one. Let's play it. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to switch to a different overlay. Oh, by the way, those emails up there are for all these developers. We have people that watch this show a lot of times on a replay, like the VODs afterwards, and I put it on YouTube. But there's game industry people that watch and streamers and stuff. if you're interested in contacting any of these people, which you should be, those are the emails up there on the top above their heads. They'll be on the next screen as well. When I switch the screens to start up the game, the video of them goes away. So wave goodbye now. Not you guys, the viewers. But you guys will still be on the voice chat, but we'll be playing the game basically over the video kind of thing. Let me do that now. Hopefully I have this set up right. Let's see. Okay, so there's the link. You can go to that link and grab the game from their little their download file, and I'm sure you'll see them again. Let me go to here. It's so weird talking without my music playing in the background. I feel like naked or something. Okay. Their game is called The Breach, which is really ironic that it's called The Breach, as there's another game called just Breach that is in like alpha right now. Okay. Yes, I should, Dave. Let's go here. So I'm on 25. Let me just try the highest resolution and we'll see what happens. Let me bring them over to the side. Oh. My video is trying to figure out what monitor it's going on. Okay, there we go. It's starting now. Let me move them over. Oh. Okay. Now, the one thing I don't know is if I should be playing this on the mouse and keyboard or a joystick. I'm going to guess mouse and keyboard. Now we can take a look here, actually. Oh, okay, that answers that question. Release control of object queue, use launchpad. Mouse wheel, third person, zoom in and out. Okay, left click to shoot, got it. I like the menu already. Really cool. So I assume you can choose between different levels when you beat them or something. Let's try a new game. Oh, wait a minute. I think I might have... There you go. Hang on a second. I can't hear you guys at the moment if you're talking. I see your mouths moving, but I can't hear you. Let me move over to this window and see if I can get that fixed. Okay. Maybe. I'll go back.
Please remain calm.
Oh God.
Follow the messages indicated on the monitor.
Emergency detected. Proceed to the nearest escape pod. Move around to open the stasis chamber. It should unlock momentarily. Awesome. This is so freaking cool. I'm so excited. Oh. Okay. Am I dying? Oh. Let me switch something real quick. Oh, I can't switch the thing. Let me go back. Let me step back. I want to switch. Oh, I have to go back out of the game. I want to switch the view mode. Give me 1 second. It's freaking out with my resolution, I think, at the moment. 2 seconds. Okay, we'll try it again. With 19. Ultra graphic, perfect. Oh, here we go. That's what I was looking for. Perfect. All right. This is what I want to play in. Awesome. That's what we missed the first time. Okay. Let me cancel this out, and we'll make this a little bit bigger, maybe. No. I'll play this right here. Let's do it. What did I do to my audio where I can't hear you guys anymore? It's so weird. Okay, this is the breach. It's at that link that I just posted earlier. I will post it later again at the end of the show. I might just put it on the Twitter as well.
Please remain calm. Follow the messages indicated on a monitor.
Got it. Whoa, my sensitivity is so freaking high. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, that fixed whatever was happening before. So this is a puzzly type game, as I understand. Never mind, that's a door. Awesome. Awesome. God, I love playing new games like this. Who are you? Oh, is that robot repairing the thing? Oh, what's this? E. Aha! Look at that. I saw. Am I dying? Yes, I was dying. Okay, I think I got it. It is dropping the shield that's sucking me out, or sucking all the oxygen out or something, I bet is what was happening there. Okay. So now that put up that shield, and now I need another blue token. So, do I need to go back and grab that one? Let's see. Oh, here we go. I would like to have you, please. Thank you. Good. And does he get started shooting this door? Let's go this way. I should pick up this gun. Oh! Oh no! Oh no! Oh god!
Please remain calm. Follow the messages
Oh,
indicated
okay.
on a monitor.
Why can I turn this guy off? No. Okay, so the only thing to do in this room, cabin unit 3, is move this ball to here. And then I need to wait. Oh, no, I'm definitely gonna die again. I thought maybe I could cheese it and get another ball. Was I able to do that? Did I steal one? I think I did. I feel like I might die. Or is that just telling me the next force field goes up in like 1 second? Okay. What about you, robot? Let's go over here. Oh, oh no, I'm gonna die again. I love this game.
Please remain calm. Follow the messages indicated on a monitor.
Let me move something here. Oh. I see why. It's scrolled way up. Let me switch over here. I got you guys. I cannot hear you. What did I do to my audio? Oh, I wonder if an audio setting got switched when I brought up the game. Give me a sec to switch this back. Alright, say something now if you guys can hear me.
Hello.
There you go.
Oh, God, awesome.
Okay, great.
Now I gotcha. Now you can tell me how bad I'm messing up.
Okay, so there is, we see you with a 15-second delay. So,
Okay, yeah.
We'll take a second to see where you are out on the level.
I'm so what I'm assuming the red means is that the oxygen's gonna go or I'm gonna die or something, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, basically
Okay.
the red is the breach is going to reopen because you've deactivated the drone that was stealing.
Aha. Okay, that makes sense. So now I need to figure out how to get out of this third room. And that would be me walking on top of that.
Identity verified.
Alright, perfect.
There you go.
Sweet. I figured out the first puzzle, which was probably just the intro. I never said I was good at games. Okay, let's start this guy up. Let's see if this does that.
Those particle systems are pretty.
Oh, wait, did I change my gun? Oh god! Now I'm a robot!
There you go. That's the third person.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so this guy, that thing on his head sort of tracks towards where it needs to go. I see. Okay. Perfect. Let me, does this have to sit here for a second? Oh, Q. Got it. Okay. Ah, so now I can go in this room because he is repairing the breach. I just realized my chat is down too. Here we go. I'll see you tonight, Dave. Sounds good. Am I going backwards? Oh!
Warning. Hazard detected in.
Oh, sweet. Okay, this is stage 2?
Proceed with caution.
Yep.
The promenade. Awesome.
Yes.
This game is so cool, you guys. I'm so excited to play it.
Okay.
Okay, what did he point at? He's shooting this way, maybe? Let's see what the orange does. I'm assuming that that goop is not good.
No.
Let's see. Let's see, can I just get over this side? No.
Okay, so let me just say that this is probably this was introduced too soon, maybe.
Oh!
It's a pretty complex level.
Okay. I'm gonna. Oh God. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think I
Yeah.
did it right.
Hazard detected.
You have to think about the drone in a different way.
Okay.
And if you need more hints, we'll gladly help you.
All right. Let's see. So Q can take him off. Okay. Okay. Let's try it this way. Okay. We're across, and now it says to do what? Q this guy. Now I'm on that side.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
oh
so
wait.
that's-
I think
that's
I get it.
basically. We just saw you go across the bridge. That's basically the first step. So you, but now you have to figure out what the drone needs to do in order for those force fields to disappear.
Gotcha.
We just saw you die.
It must have been someone else. I don't think that was me. What am I? Oh,
Yeah, you have.
I gotta start up the thing. I forgot.
Yep. There should be objects along the wall with a red outline. That's another hint.
Oh yeah. So, this guy can move and go across there. If I go down there, what happened? It died last time? I think it died. I feel like I need to get over here.
Yeah. So basically, what you did before about using the drone as a platform was the first step. So you have to get on the other side of that bridge. And once you're on the other side of that bridge, you have to use the drone, like you did in level 1, to seal the breaches, so the force fields disappear.
So this force field disappears. Right. Oh, I can walk through the blue thing. Why did I not do that previously? Okay. That makes way
'cause
more
there's
sense.
several ways you can beat this level. The intended way to beat it is to first use the drone, disable the force fields, and on the timer, go back with the drone and use them as a platform. But you can do it this way as well.
Aha. Oh no! I did it and then died immediately because I was facing the wrong way. Okay.
Warning. Hazard detected in.
I know so many people that would like this game because it's so unforgiving. I love it. It's perfect.
We had a big debate on the you died screen.
It's awesome.
We had a debate about death in general.
Okay, now I've realized that I can walk on this stuff because there's a ramp. You seal that up. I think that happens automatically. You seal that up. Okay. And I go back. Oh, I did it again! Oh! Face
it's
the other
because
way.
Warning.
You're pressing
Yeah.
probably WASD while you're switching back.
Yep.
maybe.
I need to hold still, basically.
Yeah, we should have put maybe a delay or something on there to prevent you from doing that.
Let's go up here again. Okay. Good. Seal that up. Seal that up. And now, don't move. Q. Okay, I did it. Oh, wait, that's red. Oh, God, run. Okay, awesome.
You made it? Nice.
I made it.
Nice.
Multiple
I'm
breaches
escaping.
in cargo bay.
Little by little, you're making it.
Now we're in red zone. Okay, let's grab this one and put it here to start up. I'll shoot this gun to do this. Wow, that was very intuitive. I like that one. I made this guy. And then over here. Okay. And now I can go to where? Can maybe... Can't jump off. Let's shoot something on this again. Ah! There we go. I get it. I think I need to reseal. Oh, okay. I see. It opens up this door.
Yep.
I walk through the door. I shoot the gun. I open up the other door. And now I am okay. Oh, the door. Okay. Sound kind of okay. Sweet. Oh, I only really needed to do the left one. Okay, I got you. Man,
Multiple breaches.
I'm a
detected
speed run
in
this.
All
engineering.
right. Good job.
I'll put this here.
Okay, so this one is a little more complicated. So we added a transition level for you to get used to the mechanic.
Okay. C. Aha. Oh. Oh, okay, I got it. I'm on the ceiling.
Yep.
But I don't... Oh, I see. Down, please. Is that what...
Okay, so what you just did,
Oh,
try,
yeah, there's a robot.
Somebody else that can probably do that also.
Aha. Come here, robot. And now this guy. That made sense. This is the like tutorial level that helps you understand the mechanic.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good little area to learn that. I could see being confused by that like the first time walking, like, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was because this room's a lot bigger and there's a lot more things to do.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that you got that mechanic down first, and then
Oh.
here's the real goal.
I see. This is supposed to be a blue one. Yep. Okay. Oh, he's not started up yet. Okay. I can't get through that because... Why?
So yeah, the antennas basically point towards the drone that's activated. So if you look at the antenna where it's pointing.
Oh. Look at him. He's out there like a little spider. Okay. Oh, give me that ball. I'm assuming that little platform thing is going to be yellow. Nope, we need blue.
Yeah, now remember that removing the power cell from one position is going to deactivate that drone.
Right. And I have 14 seconds to get out of here or I die, I think is what that means.
Yes.
So now I have this guy. He can go over here, but he needs to go up on the roof. And that happens by this, which is what the yellow ball is for. Oh, damn.
Yeah, this level for me was interesting when I was playtesting it because I found I solved it the right way the first time, and then every playtest since I solved it in a different way.
So here's the question:
Hmm.
Can I get my ball back?
So you have control of one drone still, right?
Oh, yeah,
again,
yeah.
We're on a delay here, so it's pretty tough to see where you're at right now.
I see.
But since you have control of that drone, you can seal a breach with that drone that will allow you to put that yellow cube and power up the anti-gravity.
Got it.
Uh,
Wait, did I want to do that? I don't think I want my guy over here when I do that. Let's see if I go up. There is a... He's doing that one. This is where I began. Where is the... Okay, he needs to go on the roof, walk through this, and seal that one. Okay.
Yeah, so you always have a safe room, which is where you started, and you can basically plan out how you want to approach it from that room, because you'll never die from there.
I need to... Oh, run! 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 I made it. Okay. Did it.
Nice, good job.
Yeah, these last couple of levels always let a fire under. Keep it moving.
All right, and this is the final level of our game.
Sweet. Okay, so this is going to activate one or the other. Oh, both. Just kidding. That did the gun, which will shoot this. Okay. Now let's get that drone and make this room safe. And let me get that yellow cube. This is so awesome. Okay, so now what's this thing? Okay. You need to stop doing that and go back through the door.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, so the difference here when it comes to the turret and the door is that opening the door closes the door on the ceiling.
Right.
'Cause so that's the new puzzle for that. And you can this little room you can figure out various ways. I'll let you give it a shot and then I'll help you out.
Maybe? Nope. I'm going to die. We gotta get out of this room. Oh, I just gotta be the drone. Damn it. Oh no, shoot the drone! Repair the... You get it. Oh, I made it in time. Okay. Let me reset. So I need to get through here.
Yeah, so basically
I need to do whatever I did to open the door.
Yep. Like, what did you do to put the door up there? How did you open the door for you to get in here, in this little room?
There we go. Oh yeah, now I need to be the robot. Okay. Why am I having trouble thinking? Oh, put the robot up there, hit the door. This will close, the robot will be able to walk through the top, I think is what I want to do.
So, yeah, the robot can't go through the green force fields that you see there. The green force fields up there are basically like a security check for the player. And so only the player can go through those green force fields.
Oh, okay. I thought I was being smart.
Yeah, unfortunately, we need a little more player feedback for that. We have an audio cue in level 1 that says security check, but we'll make sure that's persistent throughout the game, so that players understand that.
Okay, let me think. Move. Oh, wait. I think I get it. I could shoot this from over here.
We had somebody come in and do the voice, and they did a pretty good job.
I think I got it.
It was a robot.
Screen.
I have no idea who it is.
And now I need my robot back.
There you go. You got it. You got it. I just saw you walk into the middle room, so you're good.
There we go. There we go. Now I need my robot. Good.
Yeah. See.
Slow and steady progress.
There was you're in the middle chamber right now. Well, you're in the initial chamber, but on the ceiling, right? With the player?
Maybe. I've lost track of where I am.
So you're in the room that has the glass platforms that have.
Yes.
Okay. So that
I see.
room is you need to be exactly where you're at. But you see that there's other cubes now, right? Other power cells.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's one right next to me, and I, for some reason, did not look at it. Okay.
All right.
That makes way more sense. Okay. Let's walk. Oh. Oh. Okay. Switch.
Okay, so this one is basically just you figuring out the movement of the door and what you need to do with the drone in order to get past it. So if you can open the door that way and moving the drone in front of the laser interrupts the laser.
Right.
Yeah, let me see if you can figure that
That
out.
one did the first
If
one. This
not-
one must do this door, and then I do this. Okay. Now I'm over here with this guy, and this drone needs to do what? He's out of the way, so now I can replace this maybe. Come back out here. Ah, okay.
Yeah, so whatever you just did with that turret, that's the right move. But you locked the drone out of that little room. He needs to be in that little room.
Because he needs to go up on the ceiling to shut that breach.
Exactly.
Okay, this guy cannot go in here, but I can shoot this. And that'll close that. I need to open this one. This is interesting. How do I get my drone?
Yeah, so we just saw you activate the turret to open the door, and then the drone. When you try to go through that door with the drone, it interrupts the laser and it closes the door.
Yeah.
So try moving back and forth with the drone and see what happens. So basically, as the door goes up, if you move back, the door will start going up again, and that's when you can move forward with the drone. and
Yep.
protect the door.
I seize it.
There you go.
So now let's go be the... Oh, whoops. I just messed that up because I need to be the drone. Okay. And you go up here. Now he's sealing the room. And what does that do for me? Let's see.
Yeah, this is basically the trickiest part of the game because we'll let you try to figure it out, and then we'll give you
Sure.
some clues.
Let me try grabbing this one. Oh, did I just lose that cube? Oh no, it went back. Okay. I close the door. That's locked. Oh, it's deactivated. Okay. Yeah, I need that activated. Come here. He can't go in there. Can he just do something maybe? And if I go to here, he can come through this way. Does that make sense? Maybe. Ah, I think I did it. I think I got it.
Okay, yep, you got it. So now you've sealed that little chamber, right? So now
Yes.
you can go in with the player. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the trickiest part.
All right.
Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it?
Got it. You already got
Does
it.
he make it?
Amazing,
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
And now I just need to... It's over here. What? It's a space station! Oh, it's an escape pod. Okay. It's awesome. I just watched Spaceballs yesterday with my kid. What does that actually say? Oh, there it goes. It's a nice looking planet. Nah, that was so awesome.
Thank you.
Really good job, you guys. Holy crap.
Thank you.
Oh, I see lead artist on there. Yep. Christian, okay. Really?
So
Oh,
the
there's
puzzles
Fernando
are-
on there too.
What do you think about the puzzles?
Hang on one second. This is two. There we go. Okay. What was that? Sorry. What do I think about the what?
What did you think about the puzzles?
The puzzles were awesome. That last one was really great.
Thank you.
Really great job. Let me post the link again. I might share it on my Twitter as well if you don't mind.
Oh, I wouldn't at all. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that was so cool. Thank you guys so much for chatting today. What a cool talk. God. Okay. All their emails are up on the screen. If you are watching this VOD back or if you are watching it live, either way, those emails are how to get in touch with these guys. I have prefaced before that the point of the show is, for one, to show off the student work and the good work that Full Sail does, but also to put in connection maybe broadcasters, put them in connection with people that are game developers and that will be game developers inside studios, making